Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. It is Star Trek Lower Decks Day, so again, short and sweet. What are we watching? Season 3, Episode 4, Room for Growth. Full disclosure, I had a little something ruined for me in this one when I was prepping and getting ready, went on to Paramount Plus, and there the thumbnail had Dr. Tiana and Shax in black and white and wearing detective-type clothing. So immediately my mind goes, holodeck? Maybe time travel? And then my mind also went, this is Lower Decks. This could mean absolutely nothing. So I am taking it with a grain of salt, and nothing could possibly be ruined for me because I don't know what to expect from this incredible show. My friends, do me a favor, hit that like button, smash the subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and you'll be alerted next time we go live with Lower Decks, the original series, any of our sci-fi offerings. And of course, if you'd like those in their full-length format and early, the link to the Patreon is in the description. But all that is then, and this is now. And boy, do I need it today, my friends. I need a good laugh. I hope this one provides it. There's a high probability that it will. Prepare to engage maximum warp reaction. And away we go. I love Star Trek, and I will not apologize for it. I'll be taking no questions at this time.
Usually I don't mind the lack of personal space, but recently it's been too chaotic.
I don't know. I think it's kind of fun. We're in the middle of the action, you know? We're getting our hands dirty.
The goop reminds me of, was it Thundar the Barbarian?
We got an ancient mask situation here. What now? This is like the third time it's happened. Stop touching masks!
I would rebuild my palace!
Well.
Oh yeah, it's super fun to be in the action.
I just tuned that.
So let's see, okay, we're in the credits, everybody. Does the cold open show us anything about the actual episode? That seemed to be a cold open, a standalone cold open. We'll see, though. We'll see. You know, Carol getting possessed by a mask and all of these fun things, I'm sure is an Easter egg to something I haven't seen yet, but I'm starting to get more of them, friends. I really am. A few of them I can pick up. You know, I was batting maybe a 0 to 3% when I started. Now I'm batting around 8%, maybe 10%. I'm giving myself too much credit. I'm probably still in the single digits, but I'm getting better, and I desperately want to improve. So with practice and knowledge and watching the original series will come the acceptance and pride that I hopefully will eventually feel with Lower Decks. It'll probably take another watch, but that's what I'm here for.
Captain's log.
It's a pretty little ship.
Transformed into a temple while I was inhabited by the spirit of Manuki.
Manuki.
Lieutenant Commander Billups and his engineers have been working around the clock to repair the systems that turned into vines and aqueducts, and I'm worried the additional work has taken an emotional toll.
And the ship is almost clear of the crazy mess you made.
That Manuki made.
Right.
Right, Manuki.
Her medical opinion is that you are a f***ing pile of stress.
I'm fine. The doc just needs to stay in her lane, because I don't go down to her sickbay and tell her how to hypo her sprays.
I love when Billups gets fired up.
You can admit when you need a break. It's not a sign of weakness.
I'm not weak!
He just slapped Shax.
Now, who's ready for the most relaxing mandatory vacation of their lives?
Mandatory. Yay.
4 separate quarters opened up on deck 1.
Deck 1? Those are the penthouse suites.
So I am missing out.
Lower deckers don't end up in fancy rooms.
Who knows? Maybe we'll get lucky.
Well, if one of you gets it. Goopy reminds me of, and it's not Ukla the Mock and Thundar the Barbarian, but there was another one, not in humanoids, there was like a creature cartoon. You all know, help me out.
Not if we go in the back way. There's no active monitoring in the auxiliary corridors. We'll be untraceable.
Are they trying to rig the rooms? Yep.
And then they all laughed in that mean Delta shift way they do.
Delta shift.
Well, those jerks figured out how to rig the lottery using an air-gap terminal. Oh, they're definitely getting those Deck 1 rooms.
No way. No, we gotta get to that terminal and beat them at their own game.
Now you just got to stop them from getting in the terminal.
After all the times we've been cheated, we'll just be evening things out.
And if we don't do something, they will.
Look at Brad, everybody. Tendy, the voice of reason. Tandy, the voice of reason. Brad, the willing accomplice. Oh, the times they have it changed.
I understand your department's been under some intense pressure.
Right, well, you know, just doing our job.
Same race as the navigator in the animated series, correct?
These bands monitor your tension levels so we can adjust your treatment according.
I couldn't put one of those on.
You're all experiencing moderate stress, but soon enough we'll have you green across the board.
What is bright red?
Billups, what are you doing?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we noticed that the hatch, the sliding hatch, it wasn't operating. And,
We fixed the door.
We fixed the door.
It's gonna be a hike and probably some tight fits, but it should get us there first.
Hey, I will gladly get chin deep in a waste conduit if it means beating those stupid deltas.
Chin deep in a waste conduit.
Ugh, there's a program running. I guess we're gonna have to wait it out.
No time, just stay low.
Stay low.
Huh.
Here we
I
go.
know what this is. I think this is what people used to use to store their money. It's called a bonk.
Oh, what a boring program.
It's a bonk. It's the first national bonk.
Where I can see 'em. I didn't wake up today planning on blowing anyone's brains out, but don't push me.
Everything could go against plan.
Bring it, scumbag. You?
Listen, be careful. This is Shax and Tiana. I doubt their safety protocols are.
I've never told anyone how I lost my tail.
Oh, yes.
Teddy, come on.
No. I've always wanted to know.
Resume program.
I was on the Algonquin. Oh, yeah.
I was on the, would you say the Algonquin? I'd like to know the tail of that tail. I'll see myself out.
Plus, we're in parts of the ship almost nobody gets to see. I think this is super cool.
Oh, of course, everything inside here is still redone by that mask.
We're under the hydroponics bay. It's great for biomedical research, or just for flower fans.
Is this the hydroponics bay, or I thought it was still the mask stuff?
Ah, the path to Kamata in spring. Oop, oh, Gramble. His throat slit by his mistress.
His throat slit by his mistress.
Is it safe for us to be breathing that?
Oh, well, I know Orions are immune to its hallucinogenic properties, but as for humans...
Uh-oh.
How? It's a maze!
Follow Tendy.
No, leave me alone. I don't want a hat.
On the door.
Come on, Tendy.
Ow! I said go!
Why are you being so mean? Ow!
Love Tendy. Love her.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, and even more pleased to see your team taking full advantage of her sand garden.
Yeah, they're drawing schematics.
Wait a minute. Is that a design schematic?
Yep, this little honey will improve the Cerritos engine efficiency by 0.5%.
No. You are here to relax.
This is how they relax.
Ensign, working out all those kinks.
Oh, yeah.
She's got a pad beneath the table. Come on now.
Sorry, excuse me?
Oh, no,
This is
something.
unbelievable.
Sorry, was I the only one sneaking in a little build time?
Relax. Why would they relax? This is ridiculous.
These are engineers. This is what they like. Don't kink shame them. How dare you, Carol?
Ladies first?
Absolutely not.
Right.
Cool. I got this.
Why does that look so old-timey? I'm assuming some of these things have still been switched over.
Okay, this is a much better room.
All right, boys, I'll give you this one. This is a good shortcut.
Woo.
Well, just remember, we can never have fun for more than 10 seconds before death stares us in the face here.
I'm not Boimler. I'm Anti-Grav Boy, protector of the lower decks.
Anti-grav boy. How about anti-grav? Did you say boim? Maybe you said boim.
What? No, this is what we have a deflector for. Reroute power and let the dish take care of it.
Let the dish. Oh my God, that's where they, of course, right? Is Tendy saving the day across the board? Got him by the hair. Hilarious.
Anti-grav boy.
Boy, did say boy. Then why not anti-grav man, Brad? How do you feel about yourself, buddy?
Well, seems like you finally figured out how to make them relax.
Engineers will figure out a way because that's their job.
Wait a minute. Did you slide a cucumber slice under your wristband to block the sensor?
You engineered a workaround to your own stress meter?
They're engineers.
What the hell were you thinking?
That the cucumber's hydrophilic skin creates a natural...
Can it, Meredith?
I like Meredith.
You out.
This is a direct attack.
It's a direct attack. Carol, come on.
One deception after another. I must be the worst captain in the whole freaking fleet of total show. Am I amusing? We have a black bander on deck for...
A black band. That's what I would... Black band is my default state.
She hasn't recently been possessed by any ancient artifacts, has she?
Maybe a couple?
Maybe a couple.
Oh, engineers, all of them. All of them are all goddamn Jordy LaForges.
Jordy LaForges.
I'll have to send her to Earth for a full medical diagnostic.
But that would take her away from the Cerritos.
Something that could have been avoided if you just followed my treatment.
Her band's gonna go off.
This vent opens for 10 seconds once every hour. When it does, we'll have a straight shot to the terminal.
Great, so what do we do now?
All we have to do is wait.
Like their pits. Their pits are all sweated out.
Yeah, Reactor says come, but like, come. So I guess I'll do that? Do I sound cool? Come.
I wish I could make fun, but it does sound cool.
I was thinking, enter friend.
Oh.
I'm gonna say come too.
No, don't do that. That's mine.
I like it. Come.
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 Enter friend.
Oh, great.
Tuckered out from staying up past your bedtimes.
You know what? Yeah, we're tired and we've been through hell to get here.
Uh-oh. She dropped a flap. Be careful.
Town from behind stellar cartography.
Aw, I knew they were making progress.
Yeah, they were definitely making something.
Oh!
Now, by the time this sucker opens, they'll be friends. Yep.
Remember when Ransom got turned into a caveman and they locked him in the cafeteria? So apparently, when he was in there, he replicated this weird doll out of churros and carried it around like it was his wife.
Everyone knows that. People called her Churro Olivia.
True.
It does always smell like cinnamon in there. Oh no.
Come on.
That's hilarious.
You know, we're really not like that different. I feel like a big part of why we haven't gotten along.
Now, the test is when this door opens. Do they fight it out or do they actually go through or not go through?
Delta shift and beta shift working together.
Got it! Quick, quick!
Nice try, beta!
Of course.
Goddamn you, Delta Shift piece of...
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. Come on, Carol. Oh, no.
Haven't you done enough damage? Get out of here!
Captain,
Someone get her a bracelet. Stat.
we have engineered a machine that removes stress. We know, Captain, but it turns out for us, there is no greater stress relief than engineering a solution to a problem.
Do what you love.
No,
Look at that. Do, do, do.
all right, fine. Wait, now, how does this work?
It's not going to fix her. It's going to fix that bracelet.
Oh my god, I feel like a new woman!
Remarkable. Your levels have all returned to baseline. What an amazing device. With one of these on every ship, Starfleet will no longer even need the Dove.
They're going to be destroying it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Bye-bye, yeah.
Destroy
I
the
want
ship.
this thing ejected from my ship right now!
God, after everything we went through, stupid Delta Shift won.
Can't believe I laughed at their caveman ransom story. It's probably...
Watch them. They got in trouble, I bet.
it's not on the map.
I don't know. There could be incinerators down there.
Huh, doesn't feel hot. I guess it'll take someone bold to find out.
Oh,
We really need to do something about this bold Boimler thing. It is not sustainable.
he's going to die.
And no Delta Shifters in sight.
Yep, because fortune favors the bold.
Hurry, hurry, hurry.
I can't believe we did it.
Yet,
No. This says there aren't 4 rooms on deck 1. It's 1 room on deck 4.
Only one?
So wait, so who should get it?
give it to the guy with the towel.
I'll probably get drummed out of Starfleet for calling Ransom a piece of shit. And Boimler, you'll be dead because of the whole being bold thing.
You'll be dead.
It'll break us up forever.
And you know who really deserves that?
Delta Shift.
Yeah, let's just walk away and let them ruin their friendship.
Hey, why didn't you guys rev that room for me?
We didn't think you would want it.
Of course I wanted it. What are you talking about? We all wanted it.
Because, you know, beta shifters stick together.
We still could have.
They needed you there, Rutherford.
Computer, 35 churros in an unmarked paper bag. Hot.
Dear God, he keeps them refreshed. Dear God. Well, that was a quick one. They all are quick, but that one was especially quick. All right, my friends, we just got done watching Star Trek Lower Decks Season 3, Episode 4, Room for Growth. And the only thing we have left to do now is to talk about it. All right, everyone, we just got done watching Star Trek Lower Deck Season 3, Episode 4, Room for Growth. This was a really fun episode because this one, in fact, this one had so much character growth going on amongst especially the three of Tendi, Beckett, and Boimler, that there really wasn't that much. I mean, there were some very funny moments, but I was really invested in what was going on here because we seldom, not seldom, I shouldn't say that. Normally, we have to be very alert for these kind of character moments because they're usually folded up inside of a greater story that's going on, like the episodic story for this one. But the good thing about this one is it's almost like the episodic story or the story of the Cerritos took a back seat, and that was the engineering problem, everybody being tired and stressed and going down to the Dove. Okay, that's awesome. And that was really, we got a lot of really fun little tidbits down there. But nothing really earth shattering happened on the Dove. I mean, other than them making a machine that apparently does remove stress and was immediately ejected so the Dove could continue its humanitarian work. But the real story for me, the real story was the three of Tendi, Beckett, and Boimler up on the Cerritos trying to get that one room that was they thought, or the four rooms they thought were on one, not the one room on four. But with that, it's almost like I mean, the best way to put this, I think, is season 3 seems to be, and the end of season 2 is this way as well. Where is everybody? Can we get a roll call real quick? How's the situation around the world, around the solar system? How's the situation on the Cerritos? How's the interplay or interpersonal situations between all of the crew members, between the lower deckers? And I think this was a very good continuation of that. And this was not necessarily a continuation, but almost like an evolutionary point in the relationships. And let me explain that. We saw some very different dynamics begin to emerge in real time in this episode. For instance, we had the dynamic that is, Tendi, Beckett, and Boimler, the one that we're going to focus on. Whenever it was proposed that, Delta shifters are going to sneak in there and they're going to rig the voting, of course, Beckett comes up with, we can get there first and do it ourselves. Tendi, the voice of reason, should we really be doing that? Is that correct? Is that this, that, and the other thing? That was normally a role reserved for Brad, but now Brad, being bold Boimler, is 100% down with these types of Beckett missions. And you know what? I really especially dug into like the scene after he agreed to that to see if he had any regrets, because normally, like in the past, Brad would kind of reluctantly go along with something, but then they'd be maybe like 10% into it or halfway through it, and he'd say, this is terrible, why are we doing this, we're gonna get in trouble, and then kind of old Boimler would spring back up and have all of these reasons why it wouldn't work. But now we have Brad, who's not only willing to jump into these missions that Beckett comes up with, but he's ready. He wants to do this stuff. In fact, he comes up with ways to get further when they think that they've hit some type of roadblock. Danger doesn't mean anything to him anymore, or the unknown, or the potential for injury, or, you can kind of sum that up into danger. But Brad and bold Boimler, the persona that he is, an anti-grav boy, that he is sort of adopting for himself, are really superseding sort of like the baselines we have, at least we've established, for Brad's personality. It's extremely interesting because for me, this is a moment of reckoning for Brad. Because if he continues down this bold Boimler path, I believe it ends the exact same way that Tendi and Beckett believe it ends, poorly. Because Brad, even at his core, he could want to have all of this. He could want to be able to do all of these things and want to be bold Boimler and want to pursue this kind of life of adventure and Starfleet action. But at his core, and he might even become that at some point, I don't think he's there yet, because at his core, I still think that he is the Bradward that we have learned about. Is he growing? Yes. Has he grown this far? This is a personality change and not necessarily like an occupational assertion. This is him like trying to change who he is, not like his destiny or his like Starfleet bent or his Starfleet direction. He wants to be this perception that he now has of himself, this bold Boimler. That's not going to end well, because it's almost like the old saying, your mouth's writing checks your body can't cash. It's sort of what Brad's doing here. His idea of, bold Boimler is writing checks that he can't cash. He just hasn't been asked to cash any of them. Now, with that being said, do I think that Brad is becoming an exceptional Starfleet officer? 1,000%. Do I think some aspects of the bold Boimler need to be kind of incorporated into Brad? Absolutely, because he was so far on the other end of the spectrum, so far he was so, I don't want to say defensive or like a fraidy cat or anything like that, but he was a real stickler for the rules. And as we've seen, especially as I've seen recently in the original series, sometimes those rules need to be worked around or need to be utilized in a manner that might be different than their original kind of conception. So, it's needed. It's needed because of how far he was. However, he's done too much of a change, too much of a turn into this. And, just that blind jump into that passage. Hey, this might be down there. I don't feel any heat. There might not be any incinerators. I'm going to go, Brad Boy, anti-grav boy. And he jumps in. Even when Beckett starts saying something like this is not going to end well, when Beckett, who is the daredevil without peer, as far as putting herself at risk, again, the overt kind of realization for this episode is look at Brad now. Look what Brad's doing here. Look at him kind of leading this expedition at one point. Look at him wanting it to continue and not saying, hey, we should go back. This is Brad in literal uncharted territory. And it's being recognized by both Tendi and Beckett. But I think the more profound, not more profound, but also kind of the more subtle kind of growth aspects we received were from Beckett and Tendi. Starting with Beckett. Beckett now seems not to be taking second fiddle to like the aggressive nature of Brad, but seems kind of like a tag team partner with it, to the point where, and if we've watched this, I've noticed this, Beckett's character seems muted in a bit. It's almost like somebody stole her thing. And it got me thinking at the beginning of the episode, or whenever they were sitting there talking about what would you say whenever somebody comes to your door? And Brad says, oh, I'd say come, And Beckett said, I'd like to make a joke about that, but that is cool. I think I'm going to use that too. And Brad goes, no, it's me. And they're kind of comparing one another. When could we have said in season 1 and most of season 2 that Beckett would have had the same idea or thought that Brad's idea was worth taking? I mean, I know there's been examples of things where she's kind of picked at him and done stuff like that, but this seemed genuine. This seemed like Brad had offered something up that Beckett thought was, in her lane, that's cool, that's awesome. But it's just little things like that almost seems like the gap between where Brad was and where Beckett was has narrowed considerably, to the point where Beckett almost seemed ready to give up at one point, but Brad didn't. Brad was ready to continue the fight and continue the push and to complete the mission. In a weird way, it almost appears as if inadvertently or unconsciously, Brad and Beckett are in a weird kind of who's the leader type of situation, where Beckett was, in my mind, the unquestioned leader of the lower deckers, despite some very obvious instances where she shouldn't have been. I think of the collector ship where Tendi and Rutherford took over because Jet and Beckett just couldn't coexist as leaders. So there are obvious examples of that, like not working out in the past. But now it almost seems like Beckett is deferring certain things to Brad, or maybe not in an actual, like, legitimately recognized deferral. She is open to hearing what Brad has to say and not arguing against it, not contradicting it, to the point where she said the quiet things out loud when she said to Tendi, yeah, he's going to kill himself, or you're going to be dead because you're of Brad Boimler, bold Boimler. And so we have this weird developing dynamic between Beckett and Boimler that I find very, very intriguing, because at some point there's going to be a tipping point where Brad is going to be the Beckett, and Beckett I don't think she'd ever be a Brad, but where does she go if Brad kind of like achieves this goal or elevates himself, at least in his own mind, where he's willing to take the lead and willing to make decisions and willing to, kind of be the way that Beckett was in the earlier episodes? It's an interesting thing to look at. Now, for me, I think the character that is exhibiting the most growth is Tendi, and it's been Tendi. Tendi is, and I think this is what Dr. Tiana saw, Tendi is becoming an officer. Yes, Starfleet officer, blah, blah, blah. But now she's becoming that. She has questions that are, she has, should we really be doing this? Why she questions the logic behind certain moves and certain actions. But when push comes to shove, it's Tendi who is taking. Now, again, you can say, all right, well, the Orions, she stated that the nitrous oxide had no effect on her, which is an interesting little tidbit. But I assume that probably has something to do with the pheromones and things like that. She got him out of there. She was able to, identify the problem and get the two of them when they were all, tripped up out of that area. But again, it came a little bit later too. Whenever she was, we don't want to get away from each other. It's going to be one for all and all for one and that kind of stuff. And it's Tendi who's taking an initiative where she didn't before. Come on, Tendi. No, I want to hear this. When she was trying to listen to see what Dr. Tiana, how she lost her tail, I need to hear this. And then eventually she was pulled down by everybody else. But, Tendi's the one that went out with, and obviously Beckett holding on to her and everything, but she went out after Brad. I don't know. I see our girl Tendi really, really. I don't want to go out right now and say Tendi is a different person. Not yet. No, not by a long shot. It's almost like Tendi is on the starting blocks, waiting for that shooter, that starter's pistol to go off. She's poised for growth. She's poised to launch. That's what I feel about Tendi right now. I think we're witnessing Tendi on the launch pad. Tendi, displaying all the signs of a all green countdown, or 10, all systems, fuel systems ready, this system's ready, that system's ready. As we go down through Tendi, leadership, the ability to observation, psychological assessment. She's going through all of these things as she is preparing to make the jump. And I know it's only episode 4 here, but I really think that this might be Tendi's season. I really do. I'm starting to think that we're going to see a real pop off with Tendi. It was started and kind of hinted at the very beginning or very end of last season with the inclusion of her going into the officers training, bridge officers training for science. That's the start. That was kind of the fuse was lit at that point. And I think we're getting real, real, real close to liftoff with Tendi. And I couldn't be happier about it. I love it. I love it. And the thing that I like the most about this episode, when it comes to that relationship with Tendi, or that potential for new growth for Tendi, we saw a little bit of it in this mission to get to the terminal. Rutherford was not present. So Rutherford can't note these things. Would Rutherford do it? He's always kind of distracted by engineering and things like that. If anybody can, it's going to be Rutherford. And I might be reading too much into this. It might be like, it's regular character growth, Okay, that's fine with me too. I just think that the writers, who always have a determination and a very, while they like to give us Easter eggs and jokes and stuff like that, they definitely have a bent to everything that they say and everything that they show. And right now, they're showing Tendi. The spotlight's not on her, but Tendi's in every scene. And Tendi's saying lines that she wouldn't have said before. And Tendi is crossing stage with actions that we wouldn't have seen from her in Act 1 and Act 2. And I'm really, really curious to see where her story goes this season. My friends, if you stuck with me that long, hit that like button, smash the subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and you'll be alerted next time we go live with any Star Trek Lower Decks, Star Trek the original series, any of our sci-fi stuff. And of course, if you'd like early episodes or earlier episodes or more episodes, and you'd like them in their full-length format, the link to the Patreon is in the description. But I think that's all from the Lower Decks, my friend. Where should we say goodbye from? I tell you where we should say goodbye from today. From the one room on the 4th floor, or the 4th deck, the one room on the 4th deck that the Delta shifters have now achieved for themselves. But before they get in there, we have that one room. Maybe that could have been the room for our lower deckers. Maybe that could have been their HQ, their clubhouse. Fuck it. Let's just keep it at the table in the cafeteria. Until next time, my friends, Vulcan roll, and I'll see you.